By fans, for fans, the Hog Style. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Welcome back once again. It's the Hogstyes post-game show right here on the Hogstye Network, brought to you by our friends at TicketClub.com. The Redskins won. I just ate a buffalo chicken calzone. It was delicious. I'm feeling good.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Thank you. My name's Sean, Steve Thomas, Jamual, and Alex Zeus are all here today, and that was Alex. Alex, what you saying about my calzone?
Well, first off, I got to ask a follow-up question about this buffalo chicken calzone right off the bat, because you know me and food.
I do. You'd appreciate it.
What kind of cheese is in this calzone?
Very well.
Yeah. Yes. What kind of cheese are we talking about? Is there like a blue cheese element or a ranch element to this thing?
Dude, I'm ashamed to tell you this, but I have no idea. Cheese. The cheesy kind. I'm like, you're a person that knows about food. I'm a person that, like, you would hate to eat with me. I'm like the least, like, I have the worst taste ever. I don't pay attention to anything. I don't have a refined taste. I'm the worst man.
See,
I made 2 bowls of chili with my smoked brisket and chorizo in it, which was delicious.
That sounds damn
good. It's really glad that there's no other foodie on the show than Alex, because we'd be doing nothing but, the Food Network hour, and that would just
people
bore
like
everybody
that
to tears. It'd bore everybody to tears.
I don't know if you know this, Steve. The Food Network crushes us in the ratings.
Yeah,
I think we have to crush the Food Network. There's no way the Food Network is beating us in ratings. Come
Dude,
on.
people love food, Steve. People love watching food, be prepared.
Most people have to eat it.
I like food because
people.
I will die without it. That's the only reason I like food.
Now, this is sad, but Steve and I are
But that's
very
not why we
close
brought
on this
everyone
one.
here.
What?
What would you say, Alex?
I said that's not why we brought people here.
Yeah. But
True.
chicken calzone, though? No, thank you. Yeah.
Buffalo chicken.
Buffalo chicken,
Sounds
man.
awful.
Got to have a little spice on that thing. All right, well, let's talk about something that's definitely not awful, because, my goodness, we have one of those things today. This was, I told you guys last week, my least favorite team in the NFL. My goodness, it was nice to see them get defeated. How are we feeling right now?
Feeling pretty good, pretty darn good about it. Was it perfect? No, it absolutely was not perfect. But the defense was legit. The defense did their job, and we did just enough out to get the victory, and you can't argue with that.
Sounds GD familiar to me.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the same script as last week. I do want to say, though, I promised that I would play this little guy
that's right.
if since we won. So, Steve, get ready with that.
Wait, hold
copyright.
on. Yeah, let's get the legal disclaimer out there. This song is owned by the band Queen. Please don't sue us. We're using this under the fair use. Hopefully, we're using this under the fair use statute.
Fair use parody.
He said hopefully. Wow. This is making me feel worse. Your wife must love this new toy, Alex. She must love that. Good Lord.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the type of quality analysis you get from the Hogstye.
That's why you keep coming back. All right, well,
if Brian May wants to sue us for that, by God, he can have it.
He should pity us after hearing that. That's what I said. Well, let's.
Jamal has no idea what it even is.
Do you even know what that song is, Jamal?
You hear it all the time.
He knows we're the
trust me,
champions.
I've heard it.
He knows
I
we're
don't
the
know.
champions.
Like I said, I didn't know who the artist was, though.
He has no idea why there's a little hamster singing it, but
Yeah. That too. I probably have no idea.
I don't really
There's like
understand
20
that part
people
either.
of the couple thousand that are listening that know what the hamster is, and that's okay.
Maybe not even that. Well, let's jump into this game, though, Steve. Why don't you do what we always do and hit us with the numbers up front?
Okay, here are the numbers. Alex Smith is 20 for 32 for 178 yards, 1 touchdown. Quarterback rating 87.8. Adrian Peterson led the way, rushing-wise, 26 carries, 149 yards, 5.7 yards per attempt, and one really long 64-yard touchdown run. Chris Thompson, 3 for 13 in his big return to the game. That was good. Josh Doxson was our leading receiver. Yes, say again, Josh Doxson was our leading receiver. 5 receptions, 49 yards. Long 50.
A career high for him, by the way. I looked that up.
Is it actually?
He's never had more than 5 receptions.
You got to start somewhere, man. Jordan Reed, 7 receptions, 38 yards, 5.4 yards per attempt, 12 targets. We'll get to that. Paul Richardson, 2 for 34. Vernon Davis, 1 for 20, 3 targets. Maurice Harris, 2 for 20. Chris Thompson, 2 for 9. AP had 1 reception for 7 yards. Tackles-wise.
And that was a touchdown.
Yeah. Tackle-wise, Mason Foster led the way with 13 tackles, 9 solo tackles. Monte Nicholson, Greg Stroman, Zach Brown all had 6. Matt Ioannidis, 2.5 sacks. Ryan Kerrigan, 1.5 sack. And Jonathan Allen with the sack. Deron Payne with the sack. Josh Harvey Clemens with the sack. 7 sacks total for those of you keeping track today.
Yeah, that was brutal. We knew it was going to be like that.
Yeah, and that's what that's what we said they had to do, and they did it. On the Giants side, Eli Manning went 30 for 47, 316 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 7 sacks, 72.6 quarterback rating. Saquon Barkley 3 for 38, 2.9 yards per attempt. Odell Beckham led the way, receiving wise, 8 receptions, 136 yards, 11 targets, no touchdowns though. Saquon 9 for 73. Goes down from there. Another key, Sterling Shepard was only 4 for 34. So there you go. And I didn't mention the interceptions, obviously. Let's see. I lost it. I just had it up here. Okay. DJ, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, there you go. That's
stats.
The defense getting pressure and getting turnovers is huge. Okay, we won't jump to that, though. Where do you guys want to take this? Because we can start with the story of our elite defense or the story of our decidedly unelite offense. What do you guys think is better to start with?
I think the defense is the place to start.
Let's do it. Let's start positive.
I mean, what was the key to the game? The keys to the game, we said, was you got to limit Saquon Barkley on the edges. You got to stop the big plays. And yes, they got a few big plays on us. But frankly, most of the big plays were, downfield pass interference penalties more than anything else. Saquon, had his worst game of the year, 2.9 yards per attempt rushing. Yes, he had some of those screen plays. That was going to happen. Odell Beckham Jr., that's going to happen. He's going to get his yards. But the bottom line is the big play damage, which is the only way New York can really do anything this year. The Redskins were successful in stopping that, and that's why they won the game.
The Redskins had one weak link, and that was a 7th-round pick at cornerback who was being pressed to start, and he's going head-to-head with guys like Barkley and Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
If that's your weak link and you still won and they didn't even get a touchdown, that's a great day for any team. The defensive coaching staff has really got these guys coached up well. You're never going to stop anybody completely anymore. That's just not how the NFL is.
Right.
What I saw from them was a great plan, great execution, and kind of masking where you do have a few holes here and there. It was just an A all around for me.
Yeah.
It's amazing what talent will do along the defensive front seven.
Yes.
I do think eventually we're going to start having to help Stroman out more when he starts placing up, going up against better receivers. I don't like. First off, I thank goodness for the offensive coordinator over in New York for not targeting Stroman more when Odell was on him. But I think if anything to be focused on in the upcoming weeks would be just more so making sure limiting his exposure against better receivers. But overall, their secondary did a good job. You forced 2 turnovers. Should have had a couple more. Should have had the game-sealing interception with Norman, but that secondary played very good throughout the whole game. And yeah, it makes a hell of a difference when they play good and the front seven plays good as well, generating seven sacks. So it was very impressive. I loved it.
Go ahead, Steve.
I'm worried about Quentin Dunbar. This weird nerve thing, who knows where that's going to pan out. So I think you guys, Jamal, you said it right. I mean, they're going to have to get Greg Stroman help in the future on those things. You can't just leave, for the better receivers that we play in the coming weeks, you cannot leave Greg Stroman lined up like that. And yeah, I think the offensive coordinator for the Giants probably made a mistake not targeting that matchup more because he had his moments, but he also had the moments of failure. And it's look, he's a rookie going up against the best. I mean, I get it, but all the same, that's a point for later. But they need help. Yes.
Absolutely.
Talking a little bit about those guys up front in terms of getting sacks and stopping the run, Steve, there's another performance like this against Barkley. And Barkley's another guy that's, considered pretty, elite in the league right now. Does this make you any more willing to say this is a top defense against the run? You were very hesitant to accept that last week.
It's because what you're saying is born out of your subjective evaluation, which is fair enough, and I respect that. But where I was going with it was from a statistical standpoint, it just wasn't true. They weren't numeric statistically the number one run-stopping defense in the league. That's all my point ever was. They're having week after week after week of quality performances, and they're doing very well.
Yeah, and think about the people they're up against. Barkley, there's McCaffrey,
Elliott last week.
Elliott, there's it's more than just bottom-ranked rushing teams that we're up against that we're stopping. This is another guy. Okay, fair enough. Those sacks, holy crap. Poor Eli Manning.
Yeah.
We said this was going to happen. It kind of happens to him every week. So, maybe against an average pass defense team or pass rushing team, he would have been a couple less sacks, but obviously we're a very good one. So it was brutal, and it was just as brutal as I think we expected it to be. My God, I expected them to pull him towards the end there.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't do that either, to be honest. I mean, they were talking about how they want to get that rookie they drafted some reps just to see what they got.
Yeah, but they were in the game.
Why
though.
wouldn't you do that at that point?
Because they were in the game. That's why.
You're down 15 points.
They were conceivably in the game. They weren't. It was not a blowout. It was actually a close game.
Wasn't a blowout at all. That's part of the problem that I want to talk about too when we get to offense. But yeah, no. Let's talk a little bit more about defense. Were there any standouts? Any other nitpicking thing? I mean, it was an elite defensive performance again.
The standout is that the defensive tackle is leading this team in sacks.
Right.
And what was he, Alex? Was he a fifth-round pick?
That's a good one.
I mean,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
the
fifth.
Fifth-round pick out of Temple, defensive tackle, is leading the team in sacks over the All-Pro outside linebacker. And the second-round pick. I mean, Matt Ioannidis. Look out, but early Pro Bowl watch on Ioannidis this year.
Yeah,
that's the story of the season. Is Matt Ioannidis has gone from fringe player to solid starter to, dare I say it, plus starter. And he really showed it just today.
Yeah,
I'm
perusing
part of
Reddit right now. I'm sorry, I'm seeing the Matt Ioannidis appreciation thread, all dedicated to the Bama Wall and the Greek Freak. I like that. I like that a lot.
I mean, part of it is that teams are probably focusing so much on stopping Allen Payne and worrying about, someone like Ryan Kerrigan still from the outside who's, starting to get churning now. I mean, he was quiet those first couple games, but this is 2 games in a row with multiple sacks? Yeah. It just opens things up for someone who's going to be a little more under the radar like Ioannidis.
I mean, Alex, when you're with him later, and you're comforting
when we're
him,
hing out, eating bad cheesesteaks down here.
Yeah, just tell him that we appreciate him.
All right.
Playing Trustway board games.
Yeah.
There you go. Trustway board game. Boy, Trustway.
Stroking our beards.
Stroking each other's beards. Even better. Always got to one-up you on the hog stock.
Or possibly just stroking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One too far.
That's going to get us banned.
Hit the brakes. No, what else on defense before we switch to offense? Because I got something to say on offense.
Josh Norman was credited with one pass defense, but I thought, with the exception of one play there in the first quarter, played pretty darn well. I thought overall. But the resurgence of Ryan Kerrigan, the guy starts the season slow. We go through this every year with this guy. He starts the season slow, and then he builds, and he's got a string of games where he's just awesome. And he put significant pressure on Eli today. Kerrigan, and this is the second game in a row like this. 2 quarterback.
And he had 1.5 sacks this game, or 2?
Credited with 1.5 sacks.
Okay.
So I think that's a story going forward.
Yeah, I gotta agree 100%. I give credit to all of us when, we throughout the games and throughout the season, we've been pretty balanced when it comes to criticism, and it's fair. And Kerrigan has done these last 2 weeks has been very impressive, and I think it is important to acknowledge that. So, definitely, I'm definitely impressed with Kerrigan. He played another solid game 2 weeks in a row. I agree 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Defense. Anything else you guys want to say before I start ranting about the offense? I want to give you a chance because I feel like the offense needs discussion big time now.
Well, look, I mean, I think against a guy like Barkley who loves the edges, we had to have the linebackers, specifically Zach Brown, do well, and you have to.
Which he did.
Which he did, and you have to have these guys get in place, to prevent a guy like Saquon Barkley from turning the corner on you or, gaining significant yardage on the screens. And look, Barkley did his damage, in the air like that. What did I say? He had
73.
Wrong spot here. Yeah, 73 yards. I mean, that's a significant amount for a running back. But all the same, there wasn't the big game-breaking play that Barkley specifically has done to other teams, and that was what had to happen. And so I credit the linebackers for that in particular.
Yeah, I mean, in game planning too. The coaches made emphasis. Greg Minuski. I can't remember the quote like word for word, so I'm just going to give a little summary. But he basically said, flying to the ball is, that's one thing. Everybody, that's easy to do. You can fly to the ball, but you have to make plays and make the tackle when you get there. And I think one of the things that stood out for this defense, there was I can't even give you an exact number, but it was very few missed tackles throughout the game, especially on elusive guys like Odell and Saquon. They did a good job making sure that when they flew to the ball, even if it was one-on-one, they did what they could to limit the damage when the ball was in their hands.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the half, the Giants had 26 yards rushing at the end of the first half. Barkley himself was at it was 9 for 27. So he's averaging less than 10 yards a carry. The Giants tried to get him going. They tried to get him established, and it just didn't work. 9 carries is a decent amount for him for one half. It just didn't happen. To the credit of the Redskins, they're winning their battles up front. In those defensive front three in particular, Allen, Ioannidis, Payne, and then Kerrigan. Now they're winning their battles as they should have against an offensive line as atrociously awful as the Giants was.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't disagree with any of that. Now, the only thing I'll say about defense is this Giants team is ranked really low for scoring. They can move the ball, but they're ranked really low for scoring. And I'm just looking at these numbers. You've got Beckham with 136 through the air. Barkley with 73. Eli Manning finished with 315-some yards. They moved the ball. I mean, so I guess that's the one thing I'm saying is a little bit of this. It looked very impressive on our defense, but a little of this was just Giants being Giants.
This is what the Giants have done all year.
Exactly.
They put up big numbers. It's like, what did I say? I mean, the individual... The sum of the individuals do not add up to greater than the parts.
That's right.
If I said that right, I mean this is what the Giants do. They build up, they put up yardage. They can't get the ball in the end zone. They'll make a game crushing mistake, which they did. 2 interceptions, a whole bunch of sacks. This is the 2018 Giants, kids.
Yeah.
This is what they do.
Yeah, well said. So I mean, in that way, maybe our impact was slightly less than it might have looked. But still, it's a great performance. You can't ask for them doing any better, like you said.
The Redskins did what they need to do. They didn't come out flat. What was the big? We intentionally, in case anybody wondered, we intentionally did not say this on our game preview show. Oh, it's a trap game, because absolutely every other analyst out there said it.
Yeah, I'm sick of that.
But the truth of the matter is, the Redskins have a history of coming out flat after big wins, particularly on the road. And the Redskins, to their credit, didn't do that. We're on a 3-game win streak for the first time since Moses was a child. It's been a long time, and things are going well. So big props to the Redskins for doing what they need to do and taking care of business today.
Yeah.
And before we switch, I don't think we've mentioned DJ Swearinger.
No, but we should.
Yet. I mean, what is that? 2 interceptions. He had another couple big plays here and there through the game. I mean, that guy's just becoming the heart of the secondary.
Yeah.
If not this whole defense.
He's the defensive MVP, and it's not close.
Yeah.
I'm seeing posts calling him elite, and that probably is hyperbole, but he's freaking solid, and he has been a godsend for this team. That's for sure.
Well, he's the defensive Jesus, is what he is. That's what DJ actually stands for.
Oh man,
He's playing at a Pro Bowl level. That's for sure.
There you go. All right, let's talk offense here, guys. Tell me this. Okay, the announcer calls this win a gritty win. I mean, that means a couple things to me. It means you're fighting really hard. It means it ain't coming easy. It's going right up till the end. How much of this win? Because again, it's a second week in a row. It comes down to the final drive. It's a winnable game at the end. How much of this is by design? This is what the offense is. This is what the team is. It just doesn't score very much, and it relies on its defense, and that's just what the team is, versus we're just barely freaking hanging on here.
Well, I think you asked a question kind of in a weird way. It is what the team is, but I don't think this is what the offense is designed to be at the same time.
Okay, see, I like that. Yeah. Expand on that.
You know, I think this team clearly is a grounded out, try and just, win these games with defense and running back team. But at the same time, I think Gruden did not plan on this passing game being this bad. I think they clearly brought Smith in thinking that he would match what Cousins was doing in terms of efficiency and, having a lot of 300, 2 TD, 3 TD games. And that's just not happening. I don't know why the passing game's not clicking yet. I don't know if Smith just needs more time to understand it.
Isn't it obvious? I mean, we went from, back when this offense was elite a couple years ago under Kirk Cousins, we had Pierre Garçon, Deshaun Jackson, and a young Jamison Crowder. Deshaun Jackson being a multiple-time Pro Bowler, Pierre Garçon being a guy who caught 100 and something catches, 100 was 103, whatever the number was, and Jamison Crowder being a guy who was building a reputation as a quality slot receiver. In his place, what we now have is no Jamison Crowder at all, and we have Josh Doxson and Paul Richardson. What we've suffered from is a severe lack of talent in the wide receiver group that is playing on the game right now.
That's part of it, but we've added more to the wide receiver group with Richardson this year than last year. And, what did they put up, 4,500 passing yards last year?
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, so don't tell me it's just because we don't have wide receivers. That's the problem.
I think that's a huge part of the problem.
I think it's part of it, but I don't think that's all of it.
Hear me, cheer, big cheers for Paul Richardson when we signed him. What I said about Paul Richardson is his contract wasn't. Is that his
you said it doesn't match,
his performance didn't match his contract. He has to prove himself. And he's doing okay.
It's better depth than what we had last year.
He's not. He's a starter.
Well, when you put one guy on, he moves every guy back a slot. That's how the depth works.
All right. So part of it is Alex Smith. Part of it is that Alex Smith. Truly is kind of a check down Charlie type of a dude.
He's playing scared, it looks like.
I don't know.
I see a lot of people saying that.
Put Deshaun Jackson on this team right now. What does Alex Smith do with him?
Alex Smith has missed a ton of balls downfield. Mm-hmm. Now, Deshaun Jackson has a better ability to go get them because of his elite burst. But
separation.
Like the one that was almost intercepted. When I think it was Richardson. The dude was bracketed by the corner and the safety, and the ball. The way the ball was thrown, it really looked like the receiver was the giant safety more than anything. It was just a terribly thrown ball, I think, more than anything. So I think Smith, part of this problem, it's lack of talent in the wide receivers for sure. Part of the problem is that Alex Smith just isn't meeting expectations with the downfield throws.
Yeah,
or the midfield throws for that matter.
He's doing better with the midfield throws. So he
better,
hit some
but not
tight.
great.
He hit some tight windows today. He's opened up. He's opened up in that regard. In the first couple weeks, he didn't go downfield in tight windows at all, and now he is. It's just he's missing all the downfield throws, whereas Cousins at least hit a couple of those a game. So I think that's the difference. Because if you give Smith even one of those, he's up to 220 yards or so.
Yeah, which is bottom of the barrel by today's NFL standard.
He didn't have 100 guy running for 150 yards a game last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Although it makes it even more excusable that we don't do better in the passing game, that we do have that this year. So it just goes round and round. All right, so for the fans, safe to say we can't really expect – don't expect much more out of Alex Smith and the receivers this year. True or false?
I don't know about this year, but it's going to be a work in progress until basically the playoffs probably.
Yeah.
There's enough time between now and the playoffs for him to totally change his passing game to be efficient.
Right. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
What's that, Jamal? Say that again. I didn't catch what you said.
Yeah, I said if they ain't got it ready by the time playoffs start, then that's a problem.
Well,
it ain't about to fix. It ain't about to get fixed then.
That's exactly right. And I think part of the thing is we haven't really faced a team yet this year that can rally. The Packers can rally. They're having other problems. They tend to rally more and later in the season. So if we see them again, we cannot beat a team that's going to come alive in the second half. Alex Smith can't throw a touchdown in the second half. 2 weeks in a row now, we've come down just to the wire. We barely skated out of the Dallas game with our lives. Thank God for that penalty that was self-inflicted from them. So we face a team that can rally later this season. Just temper your expectations now. I don't want to be a downer. We had great performances from guys today, but we will not beat a playoff team. with the offense playing like this.
Well, I mean, look, the only true playoff team we played was the Saints, and we all know what happened in the Saints game.
Utter destruction.
Didn't go well. But I'm not willing to just throw the passing game in the trash can just yet. I do think they need to get healthy. I think a healthy Jamison Crowder is a tremendous benefit, because then you could have Jordan Reed and Jamison Crowder on the field at the same time instead of Reed just basically becoming the slot receiver, which is a big benefit. Josh Doxson is just they're trying to involve him more. He had 5 targets, 5 receptions. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first time of the year that Jordan Reed has had more than 10 targets.
Yeah, you were going to say something about Jordan Reed.
That was it. It was the number of targets. He has not had anywhere close to that number of targets in any game this year. His targets are down on average of about a target to target and a half a game compared to his historical average.
You could tell they were force feeding Jordan Reed this game. Almost, there were like 2 or 3 of those were screens. Just basically tell Alex Smith you have to throw it to this guy. Those were the kind of play calls that they were making.
I don't think that Jay Gruden's calling any passing plays different. He's using the same plays he's always used. I think just the difference is that it's taken the wide receivers aren't winning their matchups to the extent that Garcon and Jackson did, for sure. And I think Smith is just naturally a very cautious quarterback, even more so than Cousins, who was a cautious quarterback. And Smith just doesn't like to throw into those tight windows. And the deep ball, he's just been bad in the deep ball. I don't think he's completed more than one of those all year.
I can't even remember what the one was.
He had one good one to Richardson that was for like 40 yards.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
I remember that.
That's got to get better. That all by itself, because Jay uses the deep ball more than people realize. Jay uses that to he runs those 4 vertical concepts a lot. He does that. And that's just not something that we're hitting, and that's something that definitely the Redskins will need to do better on if they expect to keep progressing as a first-place team.
Yeah, I got to say, in terms of the tight end play, I don't know what it is, but that's probably the biggest surprise. Not being able to throw the deep ball doesn't surprise me about Alex Smith. Being a little inaccurate doesn't really surprise me about Alex Smith, but not being able to get the ball to the tight ends kind of surprises me about Alex Smith, especially with the 2 that we've got. I don't know. That seems like a real weird mystery. And also, 5 yards a carry for Reed, I feel like it's a little low for him.
It's a little low.
For him, I feel like he's usually getting deep. Yeah,
it's a little low.
Something's got to give there. I mean, you've got a major weapon that, on paper, it should be the perfect recipe, those 2 together.
And Reed isn't a yak guy either, so Reed gets most of his yards in the air, and it's a little low for sure.
Reed is they're trying. Like the last, you said 10 targets. 10 targets today.
12
targets today. The last 2 weeks, I don't know the exact number, but they're trying. The target increase has been going has happened for Reed. They understand how important he is to the offense. And I actually kind of disagree. I think Reed is a yak guy. He's probably one of the best people we got on the team in terms of yards after catch, or just making plays after the ball is in his hands. And I know they know that. So I don't know how. I don't know. I'm pretty sure him, Reed, and more so Doxson are going to be more focal points of this offense moving forward. But I definitely feel like they're aware that Reed has to be more involved, and that's what they've been working towards the last couple weeks.
Let me clarify what I meant about Reed and Yak. If you compare Jordan Reed's yard after catch to some of the other elite tight ends, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, Ertz, some of these guys like that, Reed's yards after catch does not compare to those guys.
Those guys are tops, though.
Well,
Gronk.
So is Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed is tops too. If you measure him by any other measure, he's basically number 2 or tied with number 2 with Travis Kelce by almost every measure but Yak. And so that's what I meant by that. He's not quite in the elite category like he in yards after catch as he is in basically every other category.
Look, if he was 40 feet tall like Gronk, he would be. That's all that Gronk's got, man. He's the friggin' Hulk.
Well, he's also fast.
he just runs people over, too.
Yeah, he's fast as shit, too. That doesn't help. Okay, well, what else do we want to say? Anything else? Lingering thoughts, big picture game or offense specifically before we do game balls?
Yeah.
Let's start with Adrian Peterson because we haven't really talked about just how effective he was today. I mean, I might be wrong. This is his top day yardage-wise, right?
Yes,
all
correct.
season?
Yes.
I mean, that's just, a little surprising because the Giants, if there's one thing their defense was good at, it was stopping the run. They if you looked at the numbers, they were pretty good there. So I was kind of surprised that he had that kind of total at the end of the day. But part of it was that big run at the end, I guess.
Well, let me tell you about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the run at the end was 64 yards. He had 149 yards total. If you do a bit of math and take the 64-yard run out of it, he's averaging about 3.3 yards per attempt, which,
Right.
but he was having...
That's a rough day for most people.
Yeah, he was having a pretty decent day, though. What you still saw is, again today, is his ability to change directions on just a dime is unbelievable for a guy who's his age, especially. We saw that time and time again where he would bounce it outside just in a split second. So in that respect, I thought he did well. The Giants were pretty decent, run defense.
Yeah.
So it was to be expected. But that was AP's longest run of the year. It was a difference making play, and that's what he does. We need more of that.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, they did blow up a couple plays in the backfield, though. Let's not forget.
Oh, yeah. They're decent against the run, for sure. They are. But I think Adrian Peterson is angling to become the comeback player of the year. I don't know what the specific criteria for that is, so don't at me about it, out there. I don't know. But
he
just
should
as
be.
a general point, he had a horrible 2017. He's having a great 2018.
Right.
I think that he's definitely the offensive MVP. I think of the team so far.
I mean,
Yeah.
dude.
It's if we can have a running back. See, this is why I have hope that the Redskins can put this together. Because if you really have a team that can run like this, that really does open up the secondary to
Right.
for a variety of reasons. If they stack the box, it's going to open up the safeties. Can't just ignore the run game. It's going to open up the passing game. Things are going to get better. Josh Doxson, guys, as much as you guys out there hate him because we see your comments, he is getting a little bit better. He's catching balls. They're targeting him more. He's not got to the point where he's a difference maker or he's a plus player, necessarily right now, but he's getting better.
He got up over.
If he can do 4 or 5 catches a game for us every week here on out, that makes a huge difference for us.
He got up
And if
over
we're
0 this
healthy,
week.
Paul Richardson's healthy. You're getting healthier. Jameson Crowder hopefully will be back. The passing game will get there and will get better.
Yeah. I mean, just look in terms of Peterson. 6 yards against the Saints, and we sucked. 20 yards against Indianapolis, and we sucked. Every other game, he's been good, and we've been good. That says it all right there. Talk about MVP.
Saving grace.
All right, let's do these game balls, fellas. How we feeling? We feeling pumped up to do these game balls? Not
Absolutely.
deflated?
Sure.
Not deflated like a Tom Brady one?
No.
Good deal.
My
all right.
balls are not deflated.
I like it. All right, let's do game balls. Who wants to go first? If nobody volunteers, I'll force myself.
I'll go. All right, I'll go first.
Good man, Steve.
I hate to keep doing this. We're going to go defense first because I'm saving the offense. I'm going to go DJ on defense this week. The obvious one might be Matt Ioannidis, Ryan Kerrigan for the pressure up front. But I just think DJ had a really good game. The 2 interceptions, obviously, but the dude just been proven week after week that he's a difference maker on defense. And while the numbers, he only had 5 tackles, but I thought he's clearly the defensive leader, and he made a difference today. And so I'm going to go DJ on defense. And offense, I hate to do it, but I just can't see. We got to go AP again. I think it's the 3rd week in a row, but he's the man driving the bus right now. Without him, we wouldn't be winning these games. And so, I as much as I want to give it to someone else, it's like when you're in 10-year-old Pee Wee football, at some point the coach stops giving the star player this helmet stickers because he has too many. We're in that situation with AP, but he's got to get the game ball again for me.
Right on. All right.
I'll go ahead and go next.
By all means.
Do it.
So defense, I'll go Ryan Kerrigan for the obvious reasons we spoke of earlier, and on top of that, I got to give him his due. So Steve already, I would have went with DJ, but at the same time, Kerrigan had a good game. He was very disruptive, and his pressures. This is important, everybody. his pressures matched his sack total. So it wasn't just pressures with nothing else there. He actually had pressures along with sacks to back up those pressures. He got home, and he had a very good game. So I'll give my game ball for the defense to Ryan Kerrigan. Offensively, it's no question I can't go anywhere else but Adrian Peterson for the obvious reasons. We live or die by AP, a 33-year-old running back. And at the end of the day, I couldn't love it more. I wish we could be more efficient as an offense, but still, watching AP on my favorite team is, it's a sight to see. So,
hell yeah, it is.
AP and Ryan Kerrigan.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to jump in here because I know what Alex is going to say, and I'm going to steal it. Let's go defense. Since we've already got a DJ, we've already got a Kerrigan, I'm going to go for my man, the Greek Freak, Alex's boy, Ion. He's the man with the 2.5 sacks. He's the man with the plan, making the impact. He's my defensive game ball. Offense, I tried to go creative last week. I think I actually did go creative last week, and it didn't feel good all week. So I'm just going to cut the shit right now. It's AP. It's AP all day. Make it 3 game balls from me to you, my man.
All right, so this leaves it on me to break the tie at defense.
And we know who your real MVP is on defense, Alex.
No, you don't. Because I'm going DJ Swearinger.
Oh, your boyfriend is not going to like that. You're going to get
Oh, that's
criticized
fine.
later tonight, Alex.
That's fine. He could, we're grooming our beards. Like I said, we'll talk about it. So I'm going to go Swearinger. He's got the 2 interceptions, and he just plays with a fiery passion that it's what you want to see in your leadership on defense.
Yeah, those turnovers.
And then offense, I'm with you guys. AP. I mean, there's nobody else at this point who could get it. This is a one-horse offense, and that horse is named Peterson.
Can you imagine what this team would look like if Samaje Perine or Rob Kelly was the lead running back?
That's what I'm saying.
I couldn't because Rob Kelly's already hurt.
Right.
Yeah, but if Adrian Peterson, if the Redskins had not, if Doug Williams hadn't ignored his instructions and hadn't called AP like he did,
right?
This team,
if Orleans Darkwa was our running back,
well, I like Orleans. I think Orleans Darkwa is pretty
I know
good.
a lot of people liked him.
I like Orleans, but we'd be 2-5.
Exactly.
Not 5-2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that just gives
we would be talking about firing the coaches.
Yeah.
Gives me a major concern.
Yeah.
Okay. Any notes? Any injury stuff come out?
Yeah. Injury. Okay. Injuries. It looks like Trent Williams has a quote pretty jacked up thumb, according to Trent. This is a quote from J.P. Finley, who's quoting Trent.
He's put a club
time
on
to get the
before.
club out.
Yeah,
Dislocated right thumb. I'm trying to find news on Tress Way, and I don't see anything that's available yet on Tress. But he was obviously
banged up.
Yeah, obviously banged up. When your punter's banged up, he had a rough day. And in terms of injuries, that was all I had for injuries.
Moses got hurt, but he kept playing, right?
Yeah, Ryan Anderson limped off at one point in time, I thought. But yeah, so it looks like Trent is the issue. And let me tell you something: if Trenton Williams can't play through a sprained thumb, something's wrong with the world. This is the dude who got hit over the head with a champagne bottle and didn't go down. So
well, we're going to find out in 6 weeks. The thumb wasn't sprained, but had like 6 broken bones in it.
And he's going to play through it.
Right.
So that's
all right.
injuries.
Very good. Well, we will obviously be back with you guys next time. Who's next? Who's coming up this week? Oh, God.
Atlanta Falcons, baby.
It's the Falcons.
Atlanta Falcons.
Crap. Okay,
Yeah.
they regularly put up 30-plus points, so that's going to be brutal.
Hey, look. I mean, it's a must-win game. It's not a must-win game. It's a game that will establish the Redskins as the clear favorite in the NFC East. Dallas is on their bye.
Yep.
The Giants are out of it. The Eagles are about to have their bye. And so if we come out of this and win next week, they're going to have a 2-game lead. In the NFC
shivers
East
up my spine.
going into the second half of the season. And on top of that, Atlanta's another NFC leader. You beat Atlanta, you're in firm control of the NFC East. All of a sudden, what you're going to hear in the media is in the national media about, are the Redskins for real? Watch the stories. Are the Redskins for real? That is going to pop up. If it's going to pop up this week, But if they beat Atlanta next week, it's going to be one of the lead stories in the national football media.
Right. Let's hope. I'm ready for it. If I see those headlines, I'll be a happy man. All right. We will let you folks go from there. Make sure you're checking out the website because we got recaps written coming up. We've got written previews coming up. And, of course, our preview episode. We'll see you next time. Cut.